Welcome to our webinar today. That's all about the new client portal experience, which we're really excited to be sharing with you all. You're joined here today with myself. I'm the lead product marketing manager here at ShareFile. And I'm also here joined by a resident ShareFile expert, Vanessa Height, who will be going through our demo portion of today's webinar as well. But to get us started, before jumping into the demo, I did want to take the opportunity to give you some details on the new experience, go over key dates to make note of as well, and then, of course, give you extended resources to really help you leverage with your teams, your clients, or yourself to help make this a really smooth transition when you're trying to adopt this new client portal experience. So I'm sure many of you have been getting emails or notifications on this new experience change, but wanted to take some time to review some of those high-level items from those communications. So we are updating the client portal experience for all plan types at ShareFile. So all the way from standard to our VDR plan. But the experience and functionality that you'll see between the plan types look a little bit different for our standard and our advanced customers than compared to our premium, industry advantage, and VDR plan. We will showcase what those differences look like so you really understand what your client users or yourself will see and be able to do with those exciting updates that we're making to the client portal. We also made this update to our client portal experience to really help simplify what clients are coming to do inside of ShareFile. We know it can be a convoluted experience, especially with clients that aren't too familiar with a portal. So we wanted to simplify in how we work with your clients by offering you an easier portal experience for them. We also won't be stopping here with those updates. So this is sort of our first move to a more improved client experience inside of that portal. This also leads into why you or your clients should start using the new experience. Not only is this a more user-friendly experience for clients, but they'll also get to realize the new functionality and value that we're adding inside of that portal sooner rather than later. And speaking of which, some of these key dates will be important to note, both from your internal users, so your employees, and your client users as well. So they're very aware of what's possible and what's happening when. We have been sending these out via email and in product notifications to both sides, both internal and client users. But we wanted to make sure that you all understood and talked about this. And if you had questions, we can answer them as well. But starting with what happened in mid-October, we gave all client portals the new experience, but each client user had to individually opt in to get the enhanced experience. So that means employee users or admins can't switch it on for their clients. Client users can do this by selecting the switcher icon on the top right corner of their portal. And you can see what that looks like in the screenshot to the right, where that lives. And we'll also show you what that looks like inside of the demo as well if you want to follow along. Now, by November 20th, which is coming up soon, the new experience will automatically be switched on for all client users. So this means they don't need to opt in themselves like they had before. So if they don't want that experience during this transition time, client users can, again, individually opt out of that new experience by, again, selecting that switcher arrow icon to turn it off. And that will be case-by-case basis like it was before. So individually, the client users would have to switch back to the old experience. Lastly, mid-2025, likely May or June, we are looking at the new experience becoming the new permanent default experience for our client portal, meaning there will be no option to revert back to the old experience during that time. We will communicate the exact date and give you reminders as time gets closer to give you enough time to prepare for that change. If you haven't seen these already, we do have some great resources to help ease that transition. And that includes an instruction guide, an FAQ that's super detailed that we're updating week by week, and a blog as well. But we are at the time where y'all probably been waiting for is to go through the client portal experience so you can start to visualize and follow along. So I will kick it over to Vanessa.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Vanessa Height. I'm a solution engineer at ShareFile, and I'm excited to have the chance to walk you through the new client portal. I currently work with our public sector customers, and this year I think that these changes are going to improve the way you engage with customers. So let's get started. So the new ShareFile client portal is coming our way on November 20th, and it's going to be default for all clients regardless of their plan. There are some differences in the portal depending on the plan, but the main thing is that the new portal will have the same features as the old one, plus some extra features to better engage with clients. To give you an idea of what's changing, let's break down the classic portal for our standard and advanced plans. First, it's got three main parts. When logging in, clients land within their folders. There is a client dashboard to access recent files and favorited items, plus sections to access their inbox and personal settings. If you have a premium, Industry Advantage, or VDR account, your clients may access additional features like projects and tasks, depending on what you assign to them. They can access folders or projects and view document requests. To upload files, they click on the Document Request tab and upload those files. The same goes for information requests. You click on a tab or a link in a notification email to get to that project task. So let's go over what clients can expect when they switch from their classic experience to the new experience by starting with the standard and advanced plans. Today, in the classic experience, clients will see a switch icon in the top navigation. The new portal is pretty similar, but there are a few key differences. The navigation bar has been revamped to make it easier to use. The content area is bigger and better, and the navigation bar has been trimmed down to include the most important things, with access to folders, inbox, personal, and security settings. The home button shows the standard and advanced plan clients, their recent files, and favorited items. And if they need to, clients can always switch back to the old view whenever they want. Now, let's talk about the Premium and Industry Advantage and VDR plans. They are a similar experience. The switch between views is in the top navigation bar. Clients and Premium plan types will see a project dashboard on the home button. Here they can access folders, their inbox, personal, and security settings. Open and completed tasks are here, and the files and folders associated with their assigned projects are here. There's also a comment section included to discuss the details within each task. Recent files and favorite items will show up in the sidebar. If you have been assigned to tasks within multiple projects, there's a drop-down menu that will let you filter between tasks. Otherwise, visiting the home button will show you an aggregated list of all the open tasks. So let's try it out with this background check authorization project assigned to my client. Within the new client portal, they can click on a document request and upload the files that are needed. Once they click Submit for review, the project team members will get a notification about the completed task. The same thing goes for an information request or questionnaire form. The client clicks on the open task, they fill out the secure form, and the responses are sent to the ShareFile project owners. In addition to the new portal, clients have another cool feature they can start using right away. If they are tired of keeping track of a separate ShareFile password, they can now set up a login integration with Google. In the client portal, they just need to go to Settings, then Security Settings, Under sign in, they click on configure social sign in. This will allow them to use their Google credentials to log into the ShareFile client portal. And some administrators can, make sure this feature is turned on in the accounts admin settings for clients only. In the future, more identity providers like Apple and Microsoft will be available. Well, that's a wrap on my tour of the new ShareFile client portal experience. We think it's going to make sharing and collaborating with your clients a breeze. It's got a new task manager and easier login options to help everyone stay on top of their work. The option to switch to the new experience is live now, so we invite you to log in with your clients and check it out.
I know that there was one thing that I left out of the video, and I
for it.
wanted to clarify,
Please.
just in case anyone isn't seeing like the switch option in the client experience. I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes it'll have the switch option, and then sometimes it'll have like an I or information option. If you have the solution, or a solution from the catalog installed, that will remove the switch option and your client, to this experience at this time. So I just wanted to clarify that in case anyone isn't seeing that. And of course, you need to be logged in as a client to see this view. Let's see. Taking a look at the questions.
Sure. Vanessa, good question here. Pretty basic one about the new sign-in options. They're wondering, how do we advise our clients about new sign-in options? I guess I can answer that a little bit too, but through in-app messaging, I know we answered there in the chat, but for the social sign-in, Google primarily at the moment, it is available for clients today. As an admin, you can go ahead and enable that, as Vanessa mentioned, but as a client, there will be in-app messaging in the coming week or so, coming soon, to show them that they can right then and there use their Google login. So that's exciting. Yeah, so a good question from our friend Joel. I hope it's Joel. Will the persons listed as clients be notified about the new portal, or am I in charge of that? So this person sounds like an admin. Vanessa, what would you recommend to them?
Yeah, what I would recommend to them is, to maybe reach out, because we do have some marketing emails that potentially will go to your clients, informing them about the client portal. But in the case that, you have, a sensitive customer base, I absolutely suggest that you guys reach out ahead of November 20th, because after November 20th, everyone will see this default view. And in order to get, to switch back, may want to inform them that that's an option available as well, just in case they don't know to click on that icon.
We have a question from our friend Pamela. The question is, how do we assign tasks to clients?
Oh, yeah. So if you want to assign tasks to clients, the first step is you'd want to make sure that your plan is premium or above. And then I can pull into view.
Good. We'd love to see that.
In view. And, when you have a premium or above account, you're going to see the option for projects or a solution that's installed, right? And then within projects, you can assign a task. And then document requests and information requests are going to be the other tasks that you can assign, right? And then that's what they'll see here from this view, and they'll be able to sort through the project or engagement that you've assigned tasks to them within.
And one thing I did want to follow up on is the poll that we did have pop up earlier about how excited people are about the new changes. Sounds like a lot of people are excited, but people are more so here to learn more about it and get the information they need to be as excited as we know they will be, of course, right? So someone asked, how long will the documents appear in ShareFile with the new portal? This doesn't change anything from what we've previously had, correct, Vanessa?
Right, right. And I mean, it's a little bit different when you're talking about tasks, right? Like once you complete a task, it'll show in the under the completed task file. And then yeah, just like Cole mentioned, people are still going to have access to their ShareFile folders, and there is no change in how long the files remain in these folders unless you have something like a retention policy.
So, Vanessa, can you also hammer down on a question of some people are mentioning just they're not sure if their clients have it yet. Is it all clients that have access to this switcher at this point?
Yes, all clients should have access to the switch currently, and then after November 20th, the switch will kind of automatically happen, and it'll look like this. And then if they want to switch back to the classic view, they would need to click on that switcher icon. But
Okay.
right now, most of your clients are probably seeing the classic view,
Sure.
unless you use, like I mentioned at the beginning, you have Industry Advantage plan, you have a solution installed. They're just defaulted to this view.
Then we had a question here about the social sign-on. If a company really wants to make sure that they don't want to enable it, is the social sign-in, is that auto-enabled, or will it still be an option for clients even if the admin doesn't necessarily want it?
Yeah, good question. It's not auto-enabled. So as the admin, you do need to go into the admin settings and enable it. And then I also saw another question, if the client can sign in initially with the sign in. I want to get some clarification on if that's possible. But it does appear that the client would need to log in initially and then go into their security settings and set it up.
And then we have a question from our friend here, Bree, asking if there's a client-facing video to explain the client portal. I'm not sure if it's just about the new updates to it or the client portal in general. Oh, it says not the switch. Of course, I should just read the next part. It said, but for new clients that we are adding, sometimes our clients aren't very tech savvy, and having something visual to show them would be helpful. So are there any resources that you could recommend, Vanessa, on just the client portal in general, perhaps what it means, the general reason it's used?
Yeah, I do believe we have an existing video on our YouTube channel. And I think what we can do, Goal, is send that out in the materials when we wrap up the webinar, and maybe like a sample message for your clients. Since that was asked earlier, how do we communicate this to clients outside of the automated emails that we send? Yep.
Ooh, great question from our friend Dave. For emails going out to clients, will they get copies so they can see what is going out? I'll answer from my end, from a customer communications perspective. Dave, we here are personally not emailing anybody's clients at all. The only people that we really chat with is our admins to make sure they know what updates are coming out. So we're trying to make sure we give you all the resources to be able to communicate with your clients properly.
Previous suggestion is maybe we can make a packet with the materials that you guys need to market this to your clients.
Yeah, I did want to clarify something. It looks like there's some confusion on what is a client user and what's an internal user. So I hope to clarify that a bit for you all so you can understand the difference between the two. So a client user is someone that is unlicensed inside of ShareFile. So a licensed user would add a client user to the account. That would make them a client user. It does not give them the abilities that the employee user or internal user has. It's more of sharing files, and then they get this new portal experience as well and be able to upload and complete document request list items, information requests. So only client users will be getting this new client portal experience. The existing licensed user, which is an internal user inside of the organization, they would have the same experience they have today.
That is a great follow-up, Stacy. Thank you for clarifying for our audience. Yeah, we did see some of those questions pop in. So hoping that can help guide a little bit more of the conversation that we have here today.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to add, I think there's one more thing.
Sure.
Vanessa, I don't know if you have an environment set up for an internal user that you could pop up to show. But if you were curious what that client portal, oh, there we go. What adding a client user would look like. And if you wanted to test it on yourself before you used it with a client, you could add yourself as a client user and see what that experience looks like.
Yeah, absolutely, Stacy. I'm showing it on screen. You can just type in your test email address, add them as a client, and this, gives them permissions to access the document or information requests or tasks that you assign them to.
And then you do have unlimited client users available in your account. So feel free to take advantage of just testing it out with yourself. You wouldn't lose a client user from just testing it.
Yeah, that's a great point, Stacy. And we did have a question from our friend Rachel. Just as an administrator of their account, they don't see the option for enabling the new portal. I guess if you could speak a little bit on that, Vanessa, just like what that process is as an admin versus what it is as a client, perhaps, which I know is different, right?
Yeah, and if there aren't any settings for an admin at this time. Right now, the structure and the new client portal, that's all going to be accessible if you log in as a client. So I think the suggestion made earlier was you guys have unlimited clients that you can create, in your portal. Try creating an external client and then log in as that client so that you can see what they see, right? So they should see this view. To date, they'll see the classic view, and I can switch right now. And then when they switch back, when we switch back to default on November 20th, that's when they'll have to manually switch to the classic view. So this is the classic view you guys are seeing right now if you logged in with your client to date, and then they're going to be able to switch to the new view. So it's really a user defined setting. It's going to be sticky for that user, right? If they switch to the classic view, when they log in, they should see the classic view. If they decide to keep the new client experience, this is what they'll see when they log in. Hope that is clear.
I do think that is quite clear. Yes. And one person asked, just generally being here as an admin, they said, how does this affect me and not the clients we have? Does this new change, how would you outline how this affects the experience for admins or employees, perhaps even?
Okay. Yeah, I definitely think the effect would mostly be felt with clients, because if they're used to logging into the portal after November 20th, there's going to be this UI change. And I know someone asked earlier in the questions, what can be customized? And that's something that admins would have control over. Right now, you're going to be able to customize the logo, and that's going to be pulled in from what you already have in place in the portal. So there's really nothing to do there if your account is already branded. And then our product management team has let us know that right now, this shade of purple is going to be default, on November 20th, but we hope to allow the administrator to customize this masthead or this navigation, with other colors or other branding options. So right now, there's not a lot of options for employees or admins. It's really going to be up to you to, let customers know ahead of time or clients know ahead of time that these changes are coming, and then you guys can prepare, sharing ahead the video that we're going to share with you guys, that PDF document that walks through the differences between what they see today and then what they'll see in the future. So those are really, to me, the options that you guys have right now from an administration standpoint.
And I do want to shout out our friend. It seems the name is Brian Sheely. The comment is in the QA. It says, so really it doesn't seem that these are huge changes. Plus it looks very intuitive. Thank you, Brian. We appreciate that feedback, and we hope that you're as excited about it as we are. Thank you for that. We do notice there's a little bit of a theme in some of these questions, Vanessa. And I know we've answered it in an indirect way here and there, but folks are asking, is this an upgrade they need to purchase, or is this something that's just included with what's already there, and it's just a change with what's already?
That's a great question. So initially, kind of through beta testing, we rolled this out to our Industry Advantage customers. So they got a preview of this ahead of time. And then what we wanted to do was extend the benefits to all of our customers. So whether you're on standard or advanced, premium or industry advantage, or even a virtual data room VDR plan, all clients will see this view after November 20th. And if you want to go back and watch the demo recording that I made ahead of time, it should go over the major changes. So pretty much everything that you see in the classic view is still available. And I think the benefits of this new view is now if you have a premium VDR or industry advantage plan and you are able to assign tasks to clients, this is going to make it a lot easier for them to complete those tasks. And that's because of this panel right here. Now, before, your clients had to click and navigate through the project, and now they should see the individual task listed here. They can click on it, interact with the task right away, submit it, and then it'll be completed, and the employee or the admin user will get a notification about that completed task. So it should be less clicks for everyone involved. And then, again, your clients really shouldn't have any loss of functionality regardless of the plan type you have. They'll still see their folders, they'll still see the inbox, which is going to include any share or request messages that you send them. As you can see from the dashboard, they'll still see recent files, favorite files. There's still going to be access to applications that clients can have access to, and those sort of things. So under their profile page, they'll still see apps. So clients can access the Windows and Mac app, and then there's also some mobile apps and the personal and security settings so that they can set up a password or configure the social sign-in, which I really love because now they don't have to remember their ShareFile password. So those are some of the things that you can look forward to.
So we put together this guide that you can download. I'll put this link in the webinar chat once again, but I'll pass it to Stacy just to give a little bit more background on this, and I'll show it on screen.
Yeah, we made this guide to help you ease transition with your client users. So this is available for you to either, email to your client users or walk them through when these changes are happening. It's basically just a before and after. So they can know where to find exactly what they found before inside of the portal. So they're not lost, especially some of those key components like inbox, their folders, their settings inside of the portal. So you can utilize this as basically before and after, a how-to guide to navigate around the portal. And then anytime you need to, maybe a client has a question on the new portal experience, you can just email them this guide. This will be linked with all the documentation. It is also on our product documentation page to utilize as well. But we know that handling support for client users can be time consuming. So we hope this guide can, cut down on that time that you're doing with that customer via support.
Yeah, thanks for guiding us through that, Stacy. I just wanted to show that and highlight that because it is a highly requested resource at this point in the QA. So I'll stop sharing my screen and give it back to you, Vanessa. Are users able to still be able to add other people to folders, create download links, or would this only be a feature for employee users?
Okay, so for client users, if we're talking about if they have the access to traditional folders, they should have access to do the things that you entitled them to do. So, like, for instance, I have a folder that should have the rights to let me upload. Here we go. So this action button, right, will let me upload files. And then if they have the option to download files, and then if you wanted to enable it to be able to share this folder with someone, you would need to give them admin permissions in the folder. So that's, I'll switch to the admin view. And if you go to the people section, this client can download, they can upload, they have upload rights. And then if you wanted them to be able to share the folder, you can enable them to do that as well. Yeah, let me check with our product management team about the ability to share the folder with other clients, because it looks like I don't see that option after giving that permission. So I'll check. But if that's something important to you, if you have a client that maybe functions more like an employee user, it might be necessary to give them an internal user license.
We do have a question here from our friend Anthony. Just about using authentication apps. They weren't sure if they were able to use it right off that with the new UI. Does this change any sort of authentication experience for the clients?
No, not to my knowledge does it change authentication experience for the clients. The login page is going to look like it looks today, and then it's just the user interface upon being logged in that's changing. And then for authentication apps, I'm going to infer that maybe the client might be using our two-step or multi-factor authentication. That's still today, and they can still set that up, generate backup codes, and then configure the social sign-in. So and that I'll double check if there's options for like authenticator apps in the new view as well.
And then we have a question here from our friend David Bentz. Can we toggle to the client view so we can see what the client sees? So it sounds like the question's coming from an admin or an employee that wants to just see what their client can see. So is that possible?
Yeah, the only way that is possible is by setting yourself up as a client. Create that client user, maybe with your personal email address, and sign in as that client. The login experience should be the same to have. Although clients, right, are going to get the new functionality to set up Google as authentication option as well. But otherwise, that's really the only way for you to experience the client portal.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that I know a lot of us internally do. We just create a client just so we can see that view. And there is a question just about when clients will be notified about this too. Yes, there is the switcher that's easily and readily available in the client view today. However, there will be a little promotional pop-up that we're going to push as soon as we can, just to let them know that it is an option.
Yep, and I got that pop-up too, and I saw it on the switcher button, and it just allowed me to change to the new view, so it was really easy to use.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually on our end, I answered partially incorrectly. So we have put a little pop-up for customer or for clients to push them to try out the new Client Portal experience. So that is something we have promoted from our end and seen some good results from as well. And that's only been out for maybe a couple of weeks, so it is still slowly rolling out the messaging.
Right, right. So your client could be using the new client view today,
Yeah.
if they chose to switch ahead of time.
And one question I have, Vanessa, that I didn't necessarily see in the Q&A, but I think it's probably because I'm more of a chaotic person than most. I'm very indecisive on, like, I know when Outlook was pushing the new experience versus old view, I was very back and forth about it. So I toggled back and forth probably 4 or 5 times trying to figure out, am I ready for this? Am I not ready for this? And at some point, of course, the new experience was made the default experience. But of course, I wanted to make sure I could toggle back and forth really as much as I could and keep everything I needed. So is there any limit in terms of how often people toggle back and forth just to make sure they're not accidentally spamming or breaking, their account?
There's no known limit that I know of, and I know to prepare for this demo, I was switching back and forth a lot, and I just switched back and forth on this live Q&A, so I would say there shouldn't be any limitation. It should be sticky, so if you switch and log out and log back in, you should see the view that you previously left in place. So that should be the way that it performs even until we make it a default view.
Great. And we've got a question here from our friend. It says, if client users are not part of project work, will they see the project section on their homepage?
Yeah, great question. And the answer is no, right? You have to have a premium, Industry Advantage, or Virtual Data Room VDR plan to see the project view. If you have the standard or advanced plan, your clients see just the recent files and favorite folders in on the home view.
And then we have a question from our friend Rook, just about reiterating or reemphasizing the timeline. Is that mid-2025 date something that is stuck? So if clients switch back to the standard version, are they only able to until mid-2025? And then they have the new experience that we're showing today?
That's my understanding as well, is mid-2025. We hope that everyone has switched back and forth enough and gotten used to the new client portal, and that will essentially take over because, as a company, we want to try to improve the experience that has the newest and best features. So that's my understanding. I believe, our product management team we can follow up with an additional statement on that point, because I think that we really should clarify, what you guys should expect next year for your clients. So it's a really good question.
They'll have the opportunity to switch back and forth till mid-2025, where we'll make the hard switch over. During that big gap of time, we wanted to leave enough time for everyone to feel comfortable with that new experience. And then as well, pull any other missing features that we haven't pulled in quite yet in there to make sure it has all of those features that you have in the old experience and even more before we fully hard launch this to all clients. So as you know today, inside of the portal, clients cannot sign agreements. It goes into their email box. But when we complete this in 2025, they'll have those tasks populate inside of their client portal as well. So that's one of those enhancements that you'll see come in that don't exist currently in the client portal, that this new experience will lend them the ability to do. But we will not be making that hard switch until everyone is comfortable, and then we have some of those advanced capabilities added in there as well.
We do have a question. We've actually seen a lot of questions just generally about folder permission controls. We have a question from our friend Kevin. Will folder permission controls and activity log be added to the new view before November 20th?
I don't believe we'll have all those things completed by November 20th, but I do know there's a number of things that will be completed by then. I can't remember on the top of my head. I do have a product manager on the call that I can get that answer for till we wrap up. So let me come back to that.
So earlier, Vanessa, I know we talked about just, can I see what my client is seeing? Can you run us through how quick and easy it is to make a fake client just so you can see that client view? Is that possible?
The email address does need to be valid, right? Because you're going to receive an activation email that's going to let you set up password. And then step 2 is to assign folders, assign them to a distribution group, or maybe even clone or copy the folder access from another user. You don't have to do this part. It's just recommended. To kind of give you an idea, I know people wanted to see what it was like to have access to a folder. And this is where you can give them permissions to subfolders as well. And then the next step is just to sign off on sending that activation email. So this is what it'll look like. You've been added to my ShareFile account, and then the link in the email will let you set up a password. So I can just hit notify, and I can also be sent a copy of this email. And then you should see in your client list, you should see that client, right? And until they log in, it kind of shows it's never here. And I know someone asked, can I change the name of the client? Yes, this is where you would do that. You click to manage the client, change their first name, last name, and now there's more fields that you could fill in as well, like their phone number, address, city, state, country, and then maybe adjust some of the additional settings that they might have, as well as the folder permissions that you gave them. So it's under the folder and activity on the left-hand side or right-hand side, I'm sorry, right? So you can get back to that place that you were at. And if you gave them access to a file or that you didn't mean to, you could remove that access from here, or you could go to that specific folder and adjust their access as well.
And so the email that they receive, that you would receive on that client test email, it would prompt you to log in, and from logging in, you would see that client view, correct?
Absolutely, right? So they need that email to set up a password, and that email does have like an expiration on how it can be used to set up a password. I believe it's 30 days. So they would need to activate their account within that time frame. If they don't do that, you can come back to their profile and email the login information, right? Resend that activation email. And there's also a section under the people section that takes you there too. But yeah, so this is necessary if they didn't log in within the 30-day time frame of you inviting them to ShareFile. But yes, that email allows them to set up their password, or allows you to set up a password, and it shouldn't affect what you do with your internal user account. You'll just have 2 separate login credentials to sign in.
With that being said too, we have had a couple of questions, and I know you're in the demo environment on your browser. So we have a question just about what the mobile view looks like. Does the mobile view, it sounds like they have a decent amount of clients that are on the mobile version. So does the view within the mobile version change, and do they have access to the switcher there perhaps?
Yeah, the new experience is mobile responsive, so they will see that.
Awesome.
And the switcher is still there.
Yes.
But if they are using the ShareFile mobile app, that has not been touched yet. So they'll have the classic view in there. But it is on the roadmap, so before transition happens, we'll have that completed as well.
Vanessa, are there any last piece of advice or things within the new client portal experience that you want to show or visually highlight here just before we go?
Yeah, I just wanted to visually highlight, the ability to toggle between if you're assigning tasks, and you want that client user to see the task for the specific project, definitely show them the toggle option. That way, that'll help them filter and sort between specific tasks. And then anytime that they upload a file to a document request, those are gonna or a task, those are gonna appear in this files section, and not in the folder section. So I just wanted to make that clear that the files associated with tasks have their own separate location, and then the files and folders navigation is going to be either in the recent files or the favorite folders or at the top navigation bar. So just wanted to clarify that there's two locations for the storage of data, but obviously the data should remain indefinitely until an administrator, an employee decides to move or delete that data. Yeah, and I just really think that kind of close things out. I think it's really good that you guys are finally setting up, like a test client user. I don't know that maybe that was a large focus of how you offered ShareFile, but I think it's something that you'll find that this is going to better help you engage with your clients. And we're really excited to hear your feedback. And I hope to share some additional materials with you guys that'll make the transition for you and the clients a lot easier.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Vanessa. And thanks for all you do. And we'll see you at the next webinar. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.